So, why are young people not getting married? Especially young people between the ages of 25 and 35. I've read several articles and several studies around the internet, and majority of them say young people are not getting married because wages have declined, and young people can't afford to buy housing nowadays, or they can't afford to buy cars, and therefore they can't afford to take care of a family. But I don't think that's true, because if you look at areas like Mississippi, Georgia, some areas in the South, um, where the medium wage is between $30,000 to $40,000, their marriage rates are way high compared to areas like Seattle, San Francisco, Washington D.C. that have medium wages from that range from $65,000 to $70,000, whereas their marriage rates are very low. So that correlation does not make sense if you were to compare the two areas. You know, so my main point here is to say that young people do not get married because sex has become very easy to get. That's something that's very uncomfortable. That's been the elephant in the room for quite some time. Uh, Researchers are not talking about that. Mainstream commentators are not talking about that. Social media commentators are not talking about that. No one's talking about it. You know. So I think the main problem as to why we're seeing a decline in marriage rates is because sex has become easy to acquire. Ever since birth control was legalized back in the 1960s, you've seen a surge in women, engaging in sexual deviance, just giving up sex that easy and not caring for their bodies, and just not caring at all. You hear about this one night stand. There's been a craze going around called the slut walk. Women walking around saying, "I can wear what I want to wear." Yes, that's true. They can wear what they want to wear, but you're definitely not going to be looked at as marriage material if you're half naked. To be honest, and if you talk to a lot of men nowadays, they're going to tell you that sex has become something easy for them to get, and therefore they don't see the value in investing, or I don't even want to use the word investing, but they don't see the value in getting married early. you know Back then, back in the 50s, 40s, 50s, uh, people getting married at 21, 22. If you're 25 and you're single, people look at you like you had something wrong with you. People look at you like you had something wrong with you. So if you go around and talk to men nowadays, you meet 31-year-old men, 35, still out there going, still going to clubs to meet women. Why? Because they can sleep with multiple women. And this is something that a lot of people need to understand, mainly women, that men are biologically programmed to love to sleep with a lot of women. That's what men are. And one thing that marriage does is ground a man, and ground him in his family, his kids, his wife, and just prevent him from going out there to gallivant and sleep with multiple women, and have kids out of wedlock or spread some certain diseases. So that's also another thing women need to understand, is that men are programmed to want to sleep with a lot of women. So there's young men who don't want to get married, go out to clubs to enjoy themselves, and you know because they know why the value of sex has just declined. It's easy to get. They can just go meet a woman or a girl, and sleep with her on the first night, you know. And also, I read this study somewhere that some research was done that they interviewed about 1,500 men, young men between 25 and 35, and they asked these young men at what point did they have sex. At what point did they have sex? And majority of those men answered the question. They answered the question, and most of the young men's answers were that they had sex before getting into relationships with the women they were with. So that means that majority of young men nowadays just have one night stands even before their boyfriend and girlfriend. So I think that's the main problem as to why we're seeing very very low rates of marriage. Sex is being devalued. This sex is no longer sacred. The woman is no longer sacred. Women can walk around and do whatever they want nowadays, which yes they can, but the results of doing that is not good. We're seeing negative results, and you can see the evidence today in this society right now. Our society is becoming a fallen society. So, that's all I have to say for this video. If you like what you've heard, please just comment, rate, or share the video, and you can also subscribe to the video as well. And let's continue this discussion. Please leave your comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much.